The skin is the largest organ of the human body, forming the integumentary system. It is composed of two primary layers, the superficial epidermis and the deeper dermis, which rest on a layer called the hypodermis, or subcutaneous tissue. The epidermis is the outermost layer. It is an avascular, stratified, squamous, keratinized epithelium that is continuously renewed. It is composed predominantly of cells called keratinocytes, which make up about 90% of epidermal cells and produce the tough protein keratin. Other important cells in the epidermis include melanocytes, which produce pigment, Langerhans cells, which are part of the immune system, and Merkel cells, which are involved in sensation. The epidermis is organized into distinct strata, or layers, from deep to superficial, which represent the life cycle of a keratinocyte. The deepest layer is the stratum basale, also called the germinativum. This is a single layer of mitotically active, cuboidal or columnar keratinocytes. They are attached to the underlying basement membrane by structures called hemidesmosomes. This layer also contains melanocytes and Merkel cells. Above this is the stratum spinosum, which consists of several layers of polyhedral keratinocytes. These cells are connected by many desmosomes, which give them a spiny appearance under the microscope. Langerhans cells are found within this layer. Next is the stratum granulosum, typically 3 to 5 layers of flattened keratinocytes. These cells are filled with dark-staining keratohyalin granules, which contain proteins like profilagrin, and with lamellar bodies which release lipids. In areas of thick skin, like the palms and soles, a thin, translucent layer called the stratum lucidum is present above the granulosum. It consists of dead keratinocytes. The outermost layer is the stratum corneum. This is composed of 15 to 20 layers of fully keratinized, dead, anucleate, flattened cells now called corneocytes. These corneocytes are embedded in a lipid-rich matrix. The stratum corneum is the primary physical and water barrier of the skin. Specialized cells in the epidermis have distinct functions. Melanocytes are derived from the neural crest and reside in the stratum basale. They synthesize the pigment melanin within organelles called melanosomes. These melanosomes are then transferred to surrounding keratinocytes, where melanin forms a protective cap over the nucleus to shield DNA from ultraviolet radiation damage. Langerhans cells are dendritic, antigen-presenting cells, essentially macrophages of the skin. They are key sentinels, capturing antigens and migrating to lymph nodes to initiate an adaptive immune response. Merkel cells are tactile epithelial cells found in the stratum basale, closely associated with a sensory nerve ending. Together, they form a Merkel disc, which is a receptor for light touch and texture discrimination. The interface between the epidermis and dermis is a complex specialized structure called the Dermo-epidermal junction, or basement membrane zone. It provides strong structural adhesion through hemidesmosomes from the keratinocytes and anchoring fibrils made of type 7 collagen from the dermis. This junction is critical for epidermal integrity. Genetic or autoimmune disruptions of its components cause blistering diseases such as bullous pemphigoid and various forms of epidermolysis bullosa. Beneath the epidermis lies the dermis, a thick, vascular, and well-innervated layer of dense, irregular connective tissue. It provides mechanical strength, elasticity, and nutritional support to the avascular epidermis. The dermis is composed of two regions, the superficial papillary dermis and the deep reticular dermis. The papillary dermis is the thinner, superficial layer making up about 10 to 20% of the dermis. It is composed of loose areolar connective tissue. It forms finger-like projections called dermal papillae that interdigitate with epidermal ridges, increasing the surface area for exchange and anchoring the layers. The papillary dermis contains capillary loops, free nerve endings, and Meissner's corpuscles for touch sensation. The reticular dermis is the thick, deep layer, constituting 80 to 90% of the dermis. It is composed of dense, irregular connective tissue with thick, interwoven bundles of type 1 collagen and elastic fibers. This layer provides the skin with its strength, extensibility, and elasticity. It houses larger structures like hair follicles, sweat glands, sebaceous glands, and Pacinian corpuscles for sensing pressure and vibration. Key cells and structures within the dermis include fibroblasts, which are the principal cells responsible for synthesizing collagen, elastin, and the ground substance. The extracellular matrix is composed of collagen for tensile strength, elastin for recoil and elasticity, and glycosaminoglycans, like hyaluronic acid, which bind water and provide hydration and turgor. A rich network of blood vessels is essential for thermoregulation through vasodilation and vasoconstriction, and for supplying nutrients. Numerous nerve endings provide sensations of touch, pressure, vibration, pain, and temperature. The skin appendages, or adnexal structures, are epidermal derivatives that extend down into the dermis. They include hair follicles, nails, sebaceous glands, sweat glands, and mammary glands. They develop from downgrowths of the epidermis during embryogenesis. The hair follicle is a complex structure for hair production. Its key parts are the bulb at the base, which contains the dermal papilla and proliferative matrix cells, the root within the follicle, and the shaft above the skin surface. Hair growth occurs in a cycle. The long growth phase called anagen, lasting 2 to 7 years, a brief regression phase called catagen, and a resting phase called telogen, lasting about 3 months, after which the hair is shed. A smooth muscle called the erector pili attaches to the hair follicle and the dermal connective tissue. Its contraction, in response to cold or fear, pulls the hair upright, creating goosebumps. Sebaceous glands are holocrine glands, meaning their secretion involves the complete disintegration of the secretory cells. They are almost always associated with a hair follicle, together forming a pilosebaceous unit. They secrete an oily substance called sebum, which is a mixture of triglycerides, wax esters, and squalene. Sebum functions to lubricate the skin and hair, provides waterproofing, and has some antimicrobial properties. Their activity is strongly stimulated by androgens, which is why they become prominent at puberty. There are 2 main types of sweat glands. Eccrine glands are simple, coiled tubular glands distributed over almost the entire body surface, with the highest density on the palms, soles, and forehead. They open directly onto the skin surface via a pore. They secrete a dilute solution primarily of water, sodium chloride, urea, and lactate. Their primary function is thermoregulation through evaporative cooling. Apocrine glands are larger and are associated with hair follicles in specific regions like the axilla, areola, and anogenital area. They become active at puberty. They secrete a more viscous, protein-rich fluid that is initially odorless but is broken down by skin bacteria to produce characteristic body odor. Their function in humans is debated, but may be pheromonal. Nails are hard, keratinized plates on the dorsal surfaces of fingers and toes. Key parts include the nail plate itself, the nail bed, which is the epidermis underneath, the whitish crescent or lunula at the base, the cuticle or eponychium, and the nail matrix beneath the proximal nail fold, which is the site of active growth. Nails function in protection and enhance fine touch and manipulation. Deep to the dermis is the hypodermis, or subcutaneous tissue. This is not technically part of the skin, but is a crucial layer of loose connective tissue and adipose tissue. It functions in insulation, energy storage, mechanical cushioning, and allows the skin to move freely over underlying muscles and bones. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one.